In this video, I want to discuss rationalizing the denominator. And here's an example where we're going to use the technique, but before we start, what does it mean to rationalize a denominator? Currently, our denominator is square root of 3. This is an irrational number. That is, we can't write it as a fraction. If we try to represent it, say, as a decimal, here's the first few digits. When we say we can't write it as a fraction, what we mean is that it's not exactly equal to, say, 17 over 10. It's not exactly equal to 173 over 100. There is no fraction that this value is exactly equal to. So when we rationalize the denominator, we change the value in the denominator to a rational number. But we have to do that in a way where the value of the entire fraction stays the same. The technique for doing that is to multiply the original fraction by 1. Because we know if we multiply a fraction by 1, the value of the fraction doesn't change. But we're going to pick a very special form of 1. We're going to pick the form square root of 3 divided by square root of 3. That is, I'm going to pick a second factor of my original denominator. With square roots, then, I'll end up with 2 factors of 3 in the denominator once I use the product property of square roots. The numerator becomes 1 times square root of 3. The denominator becomes square root of 3 times square root of 3, which is square root of 9 by the product property. Of course, square root of 9 is just 3, and so I've now rationalized the denominator because the denominator can be written as 3 over 1, which is a rational number. On the other hand, the numerator used to be a 1, but now it's a root 3. But we don't care what happens in the numerator. Our goal is to rationalize the denominator. Here's the first one for you to try. The form of 1 we'd like to use this time is square root of 2 divided by square root of 2. Multiplying in the numerator, we get 2 times root 2, and in the denominator, the square root of 4. Of course, the square root of 4 simplifies to 2. And now, because we have factors, 2 times root 2 over 2, we can reduce. And our final answer is just square root of 2. Try this one. Here the form of 1 is square root of 6 divided by square root of 6. In the numerator, we get square root of 12 by the product property. And in the denominator, square root of 36. In the denominator, square root of 36 will be 6. In the numerator, square root of 12 will be thought of as 4 times 3. And we know from our previous work this is 2 times root 3. And now we have a common factor of 2 both in the numerator and denominator, which can be reduced. And our final answer is square root of 3 over 3. Try this one. Sometimes students are concerned what to do with the factor of 3, and the answer is don't worry about it because it's already a rational factor. The factor we do worry about is square root of 7. So we would just multiply by square root of 7 divided by square root of 7. In the numerator, that will lead to 7 times root 7, and in the denominator, 3 times root 49. Of course, square root of 49 is 7. And again, keep in mind this is 3 times root 49. Therefore, it's the same as 3 times the value 7. These factors of 7 reduce, and I'm left with square root of 7 over 3. Here's another. This time, my factor of 1 is root 10 divided by root 10. The product property gives me 2 roots of 20 over root 100. Root 100 is the value 10. 2 divided by 10 gives me a 5. Now noticing that square root of 20 needs to be thought of as 4 and 5. And I can write that as 2 times square root of 5 over 5. And there's nothing further to reduce, so I'm done. Try this one. It has a factor of -1. The factor of -1 won't change our process. We'll multiply by root 3 over root 3. We get 3 times root 3 in the numerator and 2 times root 9 in the denominator. Square root of 9 is a factor of 3. We reduce common factors of 3, and there's our final result. Notice again, when we were picking our factor of 1, this factor of 2 wasn't in here. But that's because 2 is a rational number. Here's another. Here's our form of 1. Using the product property in both the numerator and denominator, we get this result. Square root of 36 is a factor of 6. This gives us a 24 in the denominator. Of course, square root of 12 is square root of 4 times 3, which can be written as 2 times square root of 3. And after reducing the common factor of 2, here's our final answer. And here's the last one. Using the form root 15 divided by root 15, and then using the product property gives us this result. The square root of 225 simplifies to 15. 5 times 15 gives us 75. In the numerator, we can think of the square root of 75 as the square root of 25 times 3. That gives us a factor of 5 outside the radical symbol to multiply with our factor of 3 to give us 15. And then 15 divided by 75 gives us 5. Well, that concludes this video where we've gone through a number of examples where we've rationalized the denominator.